We're following developing news this morning. Deputies say they've arrested a soldier accused of kidnapping his estranged wife and driving her across state lines. Torrance County Sheriff Heath White says they arrested John Nichols for kidnapping his soon-to-be ex-wife, then taking her to New Mexico. Deputies say Texas authorities let them know a possible kidnapper was headed their way. The sheriff says the woman was able to secretly tell her mom she was being kidnapped.
When her mother called, she said the safe word, and then the mother knew that something was wrong and quickly notified law enforcement.
The woman apparently had a restraining order against her husband. Deputies say Nichols is a soldier actively enlisted in the Army. At last check, Nichols was still in the Torrance County Jail. Texas authorities are on the way to get him. An Albuquerque teen is behind bars for his fourth car theft-related charge just this year. According to a criminal complaint, 19-year-old David Romero pulled a gun on a man who found Romero in his truck. That man ran and called police. APD says they found Romero inside someone else's SUV nearby. Now, in court yesterday, a judge heard about Romero's very recent criminal past.
I would like to note that this is his fourth theft-related felony arrest in 2015.
With this latest arrest, Romero is now charged with armed robbery and auto burglary charges. Well, volunteers have been spending the weekend taking out tons and tons of trash in the New Mexico forest. This is what it used to look like in the Miranda Canyon near Taos before Saturday's 9th annual Taos River and Land Cleanup. Now, volunteers traveled to several sites to clear areas where people have illegally dumped trash. More than 20 organizations pitched in. Preliminary numbers show they cleared around 28 tons from all of the sites, well above the 15-ton goal they'd set for this year. Environment officials also dug a trench at Miranda Canyon to help prevent future dumping. And the governor is going to have to start looking for a new Supreme Court justice. Judge Richard Bosson announced yesterday he's stepping down from the bench. He's served as a justice since winning his seat in 2002. The governor will get to pick a replacement who will have to win the seat in the 2016 election. And we're learning new details about the man investigators say was shot and killed by Dallas police after he opened fire on a police station there. The suspect's dad says his son, who's also accused of planting explosives at the station, just snapped, and that he had strong feelings against law enforcement. CBS's JD Miles reports from Texas, where the man's family is reacting.
And he was wrong.
Jim Boulware makes no excuses and holds no grudge against police for killing his son after the shooting rampage outside Dallas Police Headquarters.
But did he deserve to get killed? Once he shot the police station, then it's up for grabs, I guess. But the system could have stopped it before now, and they gave him no justice whatsoever.
Boulware is referring to this court order issued in April. It awarded custody of his son's 12-year-old boy to the paternal grandmother because he has a, quote, history or pattern of committing family violence. But Jim Boulware says his ex-wife made a false accusation to win custody.
That's the hate that has gone on in this family for as far back as I know.
Boulware says his son carried that hate for 3 years because of what it cost him.
Yesterday he made comments about police being responsible for him losing his son and all this. And I told him they were doing their job.
Jim Boulware says his son mowed the lawn of his father's Carrollton home on Friday and left in a makeshift armored assault van he recently purchased.
He tried to get justice. He tried to get his son back. And our system let him down.
Boulware's mother posted this sign on the front door of her North Dallas home asking for privacy. Meanwhile, the mother of James Boulware's child sent this message on Twitter that says, "My heart bleeds for James and my son."
That was CBS's JD Miles reporting. Now, no one else was injured during the attack. However, bullets did strike at least one occupied squad car. The head of the regional NAACP is speaking out about the controversy surrounding one of the group's employees. Rachel Dolezal, the president of the organization, spoke Chapter is accused of posing as an African-American woman. Her family called her out earlier this week, saying she's white. Now, Gerald Hankerson, the group's regional leader, says it doesn't matter if she's black or white. It's her record with NAACP that counts. Hankerson says Dolezal never told him she was African-American, nor has he ever asked.
The fact of this have taken on such a magnitude at such a huge level to discuss the race of an individual, whether she or black is white or white, is totally irrelevant to the NAACP.
Dolezal is expected to address the controversy at the Spokane's NAACP's meeting Monday night. This morning, we're learning more about a shooting at a rail runner station, which left a train with a shattered window. As News 13's Candace Hopkins explains, officials say while they're constantly working to improve safety, their staff can't be everywhere.
Anytime anybody certainly fires a gun at the train or throws any kind of projectile, that's a serious offense.
And rail runner officials say things like that have been happening way too often. The latest incident, a bullet struck the rear window of a rail runner train as it was entering the KRQE station on Santo Domingo Pueblo.
It can be a very disruptive event for people on a train to see somebody, pointing a gun in their direction, let alone to have a projectile actually hit the train while they're in it.
An engineer operating the train was right next to the rear window that was hit. Passengers told staff they saw a child pointing a gun at the train. All train windows have bulletproof glass, and officials say despite what it looks like, this one did stop the bullet. But they add, the distraction alone could have been dangerous.
Our engineers have signs, just like we do when we drive, that tell them certain things that they need to do along a 100-mile corridor, and they have to pay very close attention to those signs.
In recent months, the rail runner has had to worry about other harrowing situations, like people wandering near the tracks, like this toddler back in May, and people putting stuff on the tracks, like this piñata. While officials say they're working on stepping up safety, like adding more gates at crossings, it's impossible to have eyes everywhere.
We can't have somebody at every crossing or every mile marker, and so it is a challenge.
That was Candace Hopkins reporting. And a 12-year-old boy is accused of firing at the train. Because it happened on tribal land, the Bureau of Indian Affairs is investigating. Federal charges could be filed. A judge is expected to determine whether a state board will get to rule on the firings of 40 New Mexico Attorney General's office employees. The Santa Fe New Mexican reports that a judge says he will make a recommendation as to whether the state personnel office should hear the case. However, the judge says he will not decide whether the case actually holds any merit. Now, Attorney General Hector Valderas fired the workers when he took office last January. Now, 20 out of the 40 are appealing their terminations to the State Personnel Board, arguing the State Personnel Act protects their positions. A New Mexico county that tried to ban oil and gas drilling isn't backing down. The Mora County Commission may soon place a new moratorium on oil and gas drilling with new rules. The county became the first in the country to pass an ordinance that banned fracking, but a federal judge overturned the ban, saying it was unconstitutional. The commission wants to draft a proposal similar to ones now in Santa Fe, San Miguel, and Rio Arriba counties. Albuquerque Pride Fest drew in huge crowds. Thousands of people from the LGBTQ community showed up to Saturday's event to celebrate diversity and the struggles they've overcome.
So we come together to celebrate, to understand that we can have this celebration. We are able to do this without persecution, without restraints. We can be out and proud in our community.
This year's festival included concerts, vendors, and beer gardens. Pride Fest first began 39 years ago when a group of people started walking down Central wanting their message to be heard. We have 2 more days to enter this year's Zozobra poster and t-shirt contest. Organizers want your artwork to be a part of the festivities. Instead of picking a local artist for the official Zozobra poster and t-shirt, they want to get the public involved. Anyone in New Mexico can submit their artwork. Organizers say entries that stick with this year's theme, the 1930s, will have a leg up on the competition. All artwork must be received by Monday at 5 p.m. Now, this year's Zozobra will be on September 4th. For more information about the contest, go to our KRQE app. An Isotopes Park feature is being recognized as one of the top off-the-field attractions for baseball fans.
Albuquerque Isotopes? What is all this stuff?
USA Today included Isotopes Park's Simpsons statues on its list of 10 baseball pilgrimage sites. The Albuquerque Isotopes got their name from an episode of The Simpsons where the Springfield Isotopes owner tries to move the team to the Duke City. Statues of Bart, Lisa, Marge, and Homer can be seen all around the park. Texas residents may be seeing more guns out in public, including on college campuses. The state's governor signed 2 gun bills into law yesterday. One law allows licensed gun owners to openly carry guns in any place where they could carry concealed guns. The other legislation, known as Campus Carry, allows licensed gun owners to carry a concealed handgun in and around public college buildings and dorms.
The liberty that Washington and Jefferson and Reagan fought to defend and ensure. And as governor, I am proud to expand that liberty in the state of Texas.
The new law, however, does allow schools to create gun-free zones. Both laws take effect in 2016. The massive manhunt for the escaped prisoners in New York continues, following the arrest of a prison worker who allegedly helped them escape. Hundreds of law enforcement officers are focusing in on a rural area near the Canadian border. Residents continue to be on high alert and say the search is turning their lives upside down.
It's scary for us to think, oh God, this really is that serious where they have to stand around with guns and check, the cars and stuff.
Court documents show Joyce Mitchell gave Richard Matt and David Sweat hacksaw blades, chisels, and drill bits that helped them break out of prison a week ago. She now faces felony charges and up to 8 years behind bars. The police chief of Waco, Texas, addressed the media for the first time regarding the biker brawl last month that left 9 dead. Police Chief Brent Stroman revealed only 3 of 16 officers on the scene fired their weapons, and the number of casings show they didn't fire nearly as much as many claim. And we wouldn't comment on how many bikers were killed by rival gang members and how many may have been killed by his officers. He did admit that he was the one who made the decision to take most of the people at the scene into custody.
The decision to actually take the 177, or what was at the scene, that was my decision. 177 people were put in jail. There was probable cause for an arrest for 177 people. Absolutely.
The chief says there were 475 weapons found at the scene, and that number continues to grow as the investigation continues. Well, this morning, a makeshift memorial has been set up in front of a cafe in Australia that was the scene of a freak explosion. The manager of that cafe has died after suffering from burns on 80% of her body. Security camera video from a nearby bakery shows the moments of the explosion. It all happened when a car lost control and drove through the cafe, smashing into gas containers. 7 of the injured blast victims remain in critical condition. Police are still investigating whether the driver suffered a medical episode before the crash. Well, this morning, heavy rains are slamming Georgia, the capital of Soviet Republic. The flooding has caused animals to escape from the city zoo. A hippo was cornered in one of the main squares. Now, bears and wolves were also able to escape. At least 7 people are dead and several are still missing.